I wanted to post a video on some thoughts that I had recently while walking the dog. And in fact, about a week ago, I was walking the dog and I heard some geese overhead. And as they passed, I thought, Doppler shift. A few nights ago, I was walking the dog again and I saw a tree, just a random ash tree. And I noticed how all the branches tie back to the trunk. Bigger branches lead to subsequently smaller branches, and together they grow and change and slowly evolve over time. Or if you want to use the word evolve, it's more of a figurative term in the context here. But seeing the tree got me thinking about DNA, humans, and the ever-present creation versus evolution discussion that we just can't seem to dig ourselves out of. Did a little bit of research, and according to some of the stuff I read, we share about 50% of our DNA with the rest of the living things on the planet. Whether plants, animals, or anything that's around out there that's alive. 50% in common. That suggests very strongly that we all shared some kind of a common ancestor. Some people might call it anecdotal evidence. Some might call it direct. From an anecdotal viewpoint, you might say that if you see one car, you might think that all cars were made by the same company because they all share some very common features. From a direct standpoint, it's clear that all cars share a basic design with a common predecessor and are largely unchanged. Kind of like the tree that I saw. All the branches lead back to the trunk, kind of as the common ancestor. All trees look different from each other, but they all share the same basic shape and foundation. Creationists who see this video might be fuming at me. How dare you suggest evolution? Here's my conundrum, thinking about 4 arbitrary Bible verses. The first one that talks about the firmament. The second one that talks about the life is in the blood. The third one that talks about pi in the scriptures. Yes, pi as in the mathematical construct. And then, of course, the creation. It's been scientifically proven that the firmament doesn't exist. So we just reason it away saying allegorical or symbolic language. That poses a problem because if it's allegorical, then how do we know the creation account is or isn't? Shouldn't we apply the same litmus test to both beliefs? We know that life is in the blood. That's been scientifically proven. We know the construct of pi is mathematically proven. Science has clearly shown that we share many things with other living things. I would call some operational efficiencies along the lines of some of species that have developed. But overall, we share many things in common. There are principles that are very clear in the Christian and Jewish scriptures, things that are demonstrable and true. There are things that are allegorical or poetic. There are parables. Science and religion at times do seem to contradict each other. But does it really have to be that way? If we keep religion in its place and apply a correct biblical exegesis, while trusting sound scientific principles. We should be able to coexist very peacefully. But sadly, religious people can be some of the most stubborn. For example, choosing to meet against governmental restrictions and then accusing the government of persecution. I'm still very happily a Christian, and I follow the rules of the current government leaderships. I pray for them to make wise choices. I pray for the scientists, the big data number crunchers, doctors, universities, the leaders, and on. But I'm also a person that loves science, and I always have. For me, science and religion coexist very nicely. This is in no way me trying to say that I've figured everything out. It's just me sharing my thoughts that occurred while I was walking my dog.